Welcome to Cross Border Interviews. Our goal on this show is to create meaningful municipal conversations that inform, that connect, that educate, and that strengthen communities across Saskatchewan and Canada. Now, for this edition of Cross Border Interviews, we sat down at the most recent SUMA Convention in beautiful downtown Regina with City of Humboldt, Saskatchewan Mayor Rob Muench. Humboldt offers big city amenities with small town charm. Humboldt is poised for substantial growth over the next several years, and their skilled workforce supports a diversified regional economy that includes agriculture, mining, manufacturing, healthcare, and retail services. As the primary urban center for a trading area of just over 30,000, Humboldt offers exciting opportunities for businesses, industries, families, and every Saskatchewan and Canadian. This is Cross Border Interviews.
You stepped up to serve your community. Now take your leadership to the next level. Introducing GEMS, Governance Essentials for the Municipal Sector, a practical, Saskatchewan-based training program designed for council members and those who support them. Whether newly elected or a seasoned leader, GEMS helps sharpen the skills that matter most: decision-making, accountability, financial stewardship, infrastructure oversight, and navigating the complex realities of municipal governance. This isn't your typical classroom. GEMS is flexible, online, and built for busy people. You don't need a university degree, just a commitment to good governance. For some, it's been years since taking a course. That's okay. GEMS is designed to build confidence and knowledge. There is a short assessment, but it's there to reinforce your learning, not to trip you up. If cost is a concern, talk to your administrator, as there may be grants available to offset some of the costs. Because when local leaders grow, entire communities benefit. GEMS, because good governance isn't just important, it's essential.
From the smallest villages to the largest cities, every day your urban municipality supports you. The water that travels from tap to sewer, the emergency services that keep you safe, the parks, libraries, and rinks that you enjoy. Our cities, towns, villages, resort villages, and northern municipalities are urban hubs bringing people together. We are urban. Celebrate your municipality as part of the urban family.
Rob, thank you so much for sitting down with us here in beautiful Regina at the SUMA Convention. Got to start with a simple question. Where does your sense of duty to serve your community come from, Rob?
Where did it come from? It came from, my wife and I used to buy the local Humboldt Journal, which was our community newspaper back in the day. And we'd always sit there and we'd be flipping through at the kitchen table, and I'd be complaining and saying, well, why don't they do this? And why don't they do that? And what's up with this? And she says, why don't you just run for council if you have all the ideas? So I took her up on it. And that was in 2009. And I've been on council for that period of time, and mayor this is my second term as mayor. So, yeah.
I'm speaking to the converted, so I'm not going to say anything that will burst your bubble here for a second, but you know that 100% of the people will never agree on any issue that council votes in favor of.
Yeah.
How do you, as mayor and as council, make those tough decisions knowing that people will be not always happy with the decisions you make?
And this is the rule of thumb I often use is you're going to have 5% of the people that are going to complain. And a lot of times it's about anything you do, and then you have a good chunk of those people, probably 80%, maybe not quite that high, will say, yeah, I think you guys are doing a good job, but they won't say it really. They'll just say it. And then you've got 20% of the people that really don't care either way. They just they're tuned out from what's going on in the community, right? So I always say you got to try to find that wide swath of people that you feel you're doing a decision for the greater good of the community, and you're always going to have the NIMBY people, not in my backyard, and I guess you have to say, you listen to what they have to say, because it may be, they may have a concern that's legitimate and that you have to listen to it, and maybe you can work with them to try and come out with, a solution.
Well, just on that point alone, it's always important, because the old adage is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk.
Yeah.
But when you're a municipal official and you have to make those decisions at the council table, you have to walk in with an open mind.
Yes.
You can't, we all have our unconscious bias, understandable, but when you walk into that council table, you have to be open to hearing a delegation or a report that you might be changed by.
Yeah, and that often happens because, like I say, you can't have that predetermined decision in your head. You have to make sure you're listening to both sides, and then what you do is you weigh, the good and the bad, and try to come up with something that you feel is the best interest of the community. Sometimes if it's a neighborhood type thing, you try to work out a solution if you can. I'm the type of person that doesn't like a whole bunch of, heads banging together, right? You want to try to, because you're there representing everybody, not just the majority. Sometimes there's a small part of the community that maybe you have to listen to as well. So, yeah.
In the last, I would say, 10 years, I have noticed, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, I've noticed that there is a more reactive to municipal politics than a proactive approach to politics. Like you said, there's a large swath of the population, just vote, do what we've asked you to do because we voted for you, or we have not voted for you, keep my taxes low and make sure my water turns on. In Humboldt, do you get a sense that people want to give their opinion to you when you have a tough decision to make?
Well, and everybody does. They want to be heard, right? You said, 2 ears and 1 mouth. Well, you want to be able to listen to everybody and then try to juggle all those comments and opinions and hopefully come up with the right decision. And it's nice to have a council because it's not just you, right? It's 6 other people that are saying, yeah, I'm hearing the same thing you are, and maybe this is a good decision. And we all usually come to an agreement. We don't have a lot of times where we're, 4 against 3 or something, it's, although over the years I found I've been the only one that thinks one way and I have 6 other people thinking the opposite, and that's fine, right? You're 1 person out of 7, and just because you're the mayor doesn't mean you get the final call. A lot of people think that, but.
Does the role of mayor weigh on you?
It can.
Can it?
It can. Like I'm not going to lie, because during the Bronco bus crash and stuff, it was, I'm working a full-time job, and then that was happening, and then right on the heels of that was COVID, right? So it was one of those things where it just, and that's why I stepped back. It was just too much. My day job was suffering with the amount of time I was having to commit to being mayor, and it can add up once you're. But things now are a little bit better. You've got tremendous growth in our city, so we're really having to put in a lot of time and energy into making sure that happens, and we get as many people as we can living in Humboldt that are working out at BHP, which is hiring a tremendous amount of people. So yeah.
You brought it up, so I just want to ask one question on it, if you don't mind. 5 years ago, Humboldt bus crash. How's your community been since? And I know there was a anniversary of the crash this year.
Couple 2-3 days ago.
How has your community, and I don't want to say rebounded because you're still not going to ever rebound from an incident like this.
No. And
how is your community today?
Well, and it's one of those things where I believe that everybody is on a different level of what their comfort is and what their feelings are, and we don't try to push, I mean, we want to move on, and that's understandable, but if you've lost one of your kids or your spouse or whatever, you're dealing with that like everybody else did. And this has been, I think, a little harder on a lot of them because it's such a public thing, right? Everybody, everywhere you go, somebody's asking about it. So we're focusing right now on the memorial. So we're doing a a tribute at the crash site to the memory of the players and the coaching staff and the support group that lost their lives. And we're doing that so that they're remembered, right? So that's our focus right now. And eventually we want to do some kind of a facility in Humboldt. We're just in the ground stages for that right now, getting public input on what they need for facilities in the community. So part of that will have a memorial component in it. We're not quite sure what. We've got some money that was been donated over the years to the cause, and we've got that in a reserve fund in the city. So when that time comes, we'll make sure we consult with the families again and the community and see what we need to do there.
So I want to turn to the city as a whole, and I want to just preface it, so bear with me while I get through this statement. This is a conversation between the mayor and myself. This is not a motion of council, not a policy of council, not a direction of council. He needs a majority of members around the council table to vote in favor or against any motion, policy, or bylaw, to rescind or approve any motion, policy, or bylaw, to direct administration to implement said motion, policy, or bylaw. So with that being said...
Now the fine print is out of the way.
There you go. Mayor, in your opinion, what is the biggest issue or challenge facing the city of Humboldt today, in your opinion?
I would say our pending growth. It's been a challenge, and we've been dealing with BHP for over 10 years on their project out there, and it's kind of been in waves, as they make an announcement, and then everybody gears up, and then they step back a little bit, and then everybody pulls the reins in a little bit to slow down, and then so it's been I'm not gonna lie, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for the community, but now I think we're to the point where they're starting to hire permanent jobs there, and we're scrambling now to get the houses built and apartments built and that type of thing. So it's going good though. We have and I've always said, when the market is there, the private sector will come in and fill that void. And
Humboldt has the market?
It's picking up. It's still like we've had a good supply of houses built over the winter, and more to come this spring and summer. We're dealing with a company to put in some apartments. And there's a bunch of other projects waiting in the wings to see what the market bears, and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Looking at the growth that you're seeing in your community, there's always a challenge with growth, right? You want growth to happen because you don't want to seem as the community is
stagnant.
Yeah. But you want to also do it sustainably.
Yes.
In the world that we live in today, the economic times, people are suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you balance the growth that you're seeing with the realities that people are living? And is it hard?
Yeah, it is. It's difficult because, I get people saying, there's a homeless person in the bank lobby and at the teller machine, and, what can you do about it? So we try to cope with that and to deal with it. And we have a very good support community in Humboldt. So it's one of those things where, you do what you can. We are a smaller community, so it's not as prevalent as it would be in a big city, but it's still there. And it's one of those things where we need to focus on that when it happens and balance that, like you said, with the growth that we're seeing. We spent $40 million on a new wastewater treatment facility. And upgraded 2 of our lift stations in the same project. So that will put us up to a population of 14,000. Right now we're at about 6,500. So we're looking, like you say, sustainability, making sure we're looking down the road, planning for the future. Because if you just do what you need to do, like a reactive, like you said, you're going to lose the battle, I think, in my mind.
Do you find yourself being able to thread that needle correctly right now?
Well, we're certainly trying.
And that's all that matters.
Trying. Yeah, and we've got a good council that's forward thinking. I think we've got some new people on there this year, this last term, and bringing some good ideas, and we're trying to work our way through it. And it's a challenge sometimes, but everybody's I think going in the same direction, which is important.
So this is my favorite question because it's a big hypothetical question.
Okay.
Premier Scott Moe wakes up tomorrow morning and says, you know what? I love that mayor of Humboldt, Saskatchewan. He is the best mayor ever, and I'm going to make his wish come true. What's the one thing you would ask the premier if he gave you basically a silver bullet and said, we will fix this for you? What would that be?
I'm probably going to go back to the growth thing and
Okay.
to the making sure our infrastructure is in place, because like I said, most people don't realize it, but infrastructure costs a lot of money. And since COVID, everything's gone up. Like
Whoa,
anybody,
breaking news.
yeah, you look at the cost of building a house in the last 5 years, but municipal is no different. You've got your water pipes have gone up in price, doubled in some cases. You've got, your labor has gone up, your everything else. So it's one of those things where we're not immune to the whole thing. And I guess one thing that Scott Moe could do is get rid of the PST on like
Building.
5% on municipal projects that we never used to pay, but a $40 million project that we just spent on our water treatment, wastewater treatment plant, do the math. 5% of that is, it's a lot of money. And that could have been used, like I said, for social programs or helping, do work in the community on other things. So, yeah, that would be probably the one I would say is get rid of the PST.
So my final question before I let you go, because I know I'm cautious of time here, and I know you want to get back to the preliminary sessions and the speeches, but in your opinion, what makes the city of Humboldt such a great place to live, to work, and to raise a family?
Well, I can tell a story of my personal story. Is I was like every other person, graduated high school and packed my bags and moved off to Saskatoon. And I was there for a couple of years and started thinking about, is this where, do I want to spend the rest of my life here? Do I want to, where you're lined up, whenever you want to go to a store, you're standing in line, you're doing this, you got to fight traffic and do everything else. So I hauled myself back to Humboldt and raised my family there. And I think I grew up there and I raised my kids there. And I just think it's an awesome place. It's not too big and not too small, close to Saskatoon. If you need to, some entertainment that's not offered, or you need to rent a Costco like everyone seems to do nowadays. It's not that far, but yet it's far enough away that we've got enough. We've got businesses that are locating there, and because they know there's a market, and we push out towards the east a little bit, and so some of those communities they call Humboldt their service hub. So and our healthcare facilities and stuff are all doing pretty good, and we're getting doctors to come here, and so I think it's a really good place, and it's not perfect, and it needs some help and needs to be shined up a little bit. But we often get compliments of people coming through Humboldt, and I talked to a lady today that said she was from, I think, Kelvington, and they used to drive through Humboldt going to Saskatoon when she was a kid, and she said, this is a really nice little town. It's people. Somebody commented one time, does everybody mow their lawn on the same day here? Because the lawns look good and the streets are clean and people take pride. And I think that reflects in the community and why people want to move here. So,
Rob, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in for another edition of Cross Border Interviews. This episode was sponsored in part by the Johnson Shoyoma Graduate School of Public Policy. Our goal on this show is to create meaningful municipal conversations that inform, connect, and strengthen communities from coast to coast to coast. Now, if you found value in today's discussion, please take a moment to subscribe to the show, leave a review, and share this episode with your community. And if you are a municipally elected official with a story to tell, insights to share, or ideas worth spotlighting, we invite you to be part of the conversation. Reach out to us today by visiting crossbordernetwork.ca and learn how you can take part in an upcoming episode. So until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Cross Border Interviews soon.